Good afternoon, ma'am.
So, we will start with the subject of understanding the disciplines. So, before going further, let us just recapitulate whatever we did yesterday. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So, we
ma'am.
Yes,
started.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So we started our journey with defining knowledge. Knowledge, we defined it just as a true belief. These are the three requirements of knowledge. That one, there must be a proposition which must be true, and we must have believed that it is true, and there is necessity of some evidence to believe it that it's true. So we talked about three divisions of knowledge: a priori knowledge, which does not require any requires any evidence, or it has universal validity. Then posterior knowledge, which is based on observations and experienced knowledge, which is based upon our experiences. Then we differentiate between data, information, and knowledge. Data is just raw data, which if it is not interpreted, then it is meaningless. And when we interpret the data, it gives us some information. And when we attach some meaning to that information, then it becomes the knowledge. Then we talked about the sources and ways of acquiring knowledge. We talked about different sources like intuition, authority, tenacity, then reasoning like inductive and deductive reasoning, through empiricism, that is through experience, then through revelation. Then we categorized the knowledge, and we concluded that when we these classification and categorization of knowledge is just termed as the disciplines or forms of knowledge. We talked about three types of knowledge: propositional, which is based on some proposition. Proposition means statement. And procedural knowledge, which talks about how, or knowledge of how to do the things. And direct knowledge means about one's mental states. And okay, further, we discussed about the seven such forms of knowledge as given by H. Hurst, categorized as formal logic or mathematics, physical sciences, human sciences. Human sciences are further categorized into five categories: history, moral understanding, religious knowledge, philosophy, and aesthetics. And then we just discussed about the disciplines and type of knowledge uh, which comes under that a particular discipline. और धीरे धीरे करके we came to the discipline. That what is a discipline? In single word, discipline is the focused study of a particular field. These are the characteristics of a discipline. जो main characteristics इसके ये कि every discipline has its own history, and it has its own theories and technical theoretical knowledge. इसकी अपनी it has its own research methods and so on. And then we talked about the forms of discipline. One is the basic discipline. Basic disciplines are also known as the pure disciplines, जो जिनकी के हमारे पास practical जो utility is very less. And then applied disciplines, which have application in the field like biotechnology, bioengineering, and so on. Then we talked about the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary areas. Interdisciplinary areas in which one is the principal organizers, and we put some information with this principal organizer is supplemented by information from other disciplines. And multidisciplinary approaches in which there is one new field is created by putting information from other fields. Then we talked about the Biglan's classification. He classified the disciplines as hard versus soft on the basis of their paradigm, pure versus applied on the basis of their application, and then life versus non-life on the basis of the living system. Or this third category was removed. And then we came to the discipline specific knowledge, which is specific to a particular discipline or profession. We talked about the characteristics of discipline specific knowledge, and यहाँ पर थे हम लोग that there are some major disciplines with discipline specific processes to acquire knowledge. So today we will talk about these major disciplines and what are the specific processes involved to acquire knowledge in that particular discipline. So first discipline is the science. अगर हम साइंस की बात करें, what is science? Science is just a body of systematic body of knowledge. So systematic body of knowledge, knowledge which is gained through experimentation through a particular process which can be validated. So science is the major discipline, and the discipline specific processes to acquire knowledge in this discipline involve critical observation of the natural phenomena, developing inquiry on observable phenomena. We have some inquiry on those, that why this phenomena is happening. We have inquiry, and then establishing, linking and correlating the scientific ideas with physical happenings, engaging in scientific experimentation. कोई भी साइंस की अगर आपने नॉलेज गेन करनी है तो वो बिना एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन के आप उसको नहीं करते. The scientists are always involved and engaged in scientific experimentations, and then natural and scientific exploration of facts and ideas and their validation. ये main point है to acquire scientific knowledge, that we must validate those ideas, and validating the result of scientific inquiry and developing scientific thinking and ability to make abstract concepts of ideas. So these are the processes which are involved to acquire knowledge in the discipline of science. Next comes the major discipline of social science. Social science is the main processes involved to enhance the knowledge in social sciences. कौन से processes है? First is the critical observation of the social phenomena like social happenings, norms of the society, interpersonal relationships. These are certain issues like caste, class, gender. So, whatever is happening, we must have a critical observation of that phenomena. Then we engage in social inquiry, why this phenomena is happening, explore that phenomena and understand cross-cultural and cross-sectional dimensions of the society, understanding social, cultural and economic diversities of the society. Social sciences is basically, what is social sciences? Is the study of the society. So we try to understand different diversities in the society, understanding individuals' rights and duties, understanding civic responsibilities, ethical practices, and love for the entire world. So these processes are involved in the discipline of social sciences. अगर हम मैथमेटिक्स की बात करें तो मैथमेटिक्स में जो मेजर हमारा प्रोसेस इन्वॉल्व होता है टू गेन इट्स नॉलेज इज द प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एंड एनालिटिकल थिंकिंग. So mathematics में जो processes involved हैं, these are the connecting mathematical principles with daily life of the children, making children think rationally and do things inductively or deductively. Yes, inductive and deductive reasoning is involved in the mathematics. Developing logical reasoning can make the children to solve mathematical problems, and developing the skills of analyzing and synthesizing the mathematical principles. Analyzing होता है to break the information into parts, and synthesizes is just opposite of it, to synthesize the parts to make one information. So these are the processes which are involved in mathematics. एक आपको एनालाइजिंग सिंथेसाइजिंग की एग्जांपल देती हूँ. फॉर एग्जांपल आप बच्चों को सिंपल इंटरेस्ट का फॉर्मूला बताते हो. सिंपल इंटरेस्ट इज इक्वल टू P into R into T upon 100. तो we break, analyze क्या है कि we break it into parts. What is P, what is R, what is T, and then synthesize it into the form of an equation. Okay, how these three parts are related to this simple interest. These are the characteristics of disciplines which we have already discussed. Now we come to the perspectives of discipline. There are basically three perspectives of discipline. One is the philosophical perspective. Philosophical perspective क्या है कि every discipline has its own philosophy. हर एक discipline has its own philosophy and the process of acquiring knowledge. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम साइंस की बात करें तो साइंस में अब कहा जाता है एम्पिरिसिज्म, लॉजिकल पॉजिटिविज्म, ऑब्जर्वेशंस एंड द प्रोसेसेस ऑफ इंक्वायरी एंड एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन टू वैलिडेट दीज फाइंडिंग्स. So the above knowledge and processes these form the discipline of science. इसकी अपनी एक philosophy है साइंस की कि it believes in realism कि truth is what can be observed. जो चीज आपको नजर नहीं आ रही वो truth है ही नहीं, that is not existing. So this is science philosophy. It has its own philosophy and its processes involve logical positivism, involve observations of the phenomena, scientific inquiry. Scientific inquiry means we make hypotheses and then we test those hypotheses and then we validate the information gained. If we talk about social sciences, so social sciences involve processes like social observations, understanding interpersonal relationships, critically analyzes the social, political, and economic issues. So the process of acquiring scientific knowledge are different from the process of acquiring social science knowledge. So every discipline has its own processes of acquiring knowledge. Similarly, अगर हम मैथमेटिक्स की बात करें तो मैथमेटिक्स का प्रोसेस इट इन्वॉल्व्स लाइक प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, like analyzing the things, induction and deduction. So it has its own processes. So perspective of discipline is, one is the philosophical perspective. Every discipline has its own philosophy and processes to acquire the knowledge. Second perspective of disciplines is the socio-political and cultural perspective. तो अगर हम बात करें तो एजुकेशन इज क्लोज रिलेटेड टू द सोसाइटी, इट्स नॉर्म्स एंड प्रिंसिपल्स, ट्रेडिशंस एंड कल्चर्स एंड वेज ऑफ लिविंग. All these contribute to the formation of an academic discipline. एजुकेशन, हम कहते हो कि एजुकेशन आपने पढ़ा भी होगा कभी, एजुकेशन हैज एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन सोसाइटी एंड सोसाइटी हैज एन इम्पैक्ट ऑन एजुकेशन, है ना. तो एजुकेशन इज रिलेटेड टू सोसाइटी. अगर हम स्कूल की भी बात करते हैं तो स्कूल इज नोन एज द मिनिएचर सोसाइटी. सो all it is concerned with the society, its norms, its traditions, its cultures and the ways of living. So all these things they contribute to the formation of a academic discipline. जब आप डिसिप्लिन बनाते हो तो इसमें इसका बहुत भारी चीज का रोल रहता है. NPE, National Policy of Education, has remarked that every country develops a system of education to express and promote its unique socio-cultural identity. हमने पहले भी मैंने बताया कि एजुकेशन का इम्पैक्ट है ऑन द सोसाइटी, और हम कहते हैं कि मेन जो रोल ऑफ एजुकेशन इज द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द सोसाइटी. सो एनपीई ने भी यही कहा है कि every country develops a system of education to express and promote its unique socio-cultural identity. एक एजुकेशन का रोल ये है कि अपने कल्चर को, अपनी कंट्री के कल्चर को डेवलप करे, प्रमोट करे एंड उसकी सोशल डेवलपमेंट में help करें, and also to meet the challenges of the time. According to time, whatever challenges are there, education helps us to meet those socio-cultural challenges. There are moments in history when a new direction has to be given to an age-old process. That moment is today. Education is the highway to realize the cultural as well as socio-political goals of the country. So education is the main, कह लो कि it's a medium to realize the cultural as well as socio-political goals of the country. So second perspective is the socio-political and cultural perspective. We can also discuss it in these terms, that we have a common educational structure starting from school to higher education. हमारे इंडिया की अगर हम बात करें इसी perspective में, according to this socio-cultural perspective, we have a common educational structure. The national system of education is based on the national curriculum framework. हो सकता है स्टेट टू स्टेट थोड़ा बहुत इसमें हमारे चेंजेस हो करिकुलम में, बट ओवरऑल इट इज बेस्ड ऑन द नेशनल करिकुलम फ्रेमवर्क, जो आगे पूरी की पूरी कंट्री को ध्यान में रख करके बनाया गया. द नेशनल इंटीग्रेशन, इंटरनेशनल अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड यूनिवर्सल ब्रदरहुड आर द बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ आवर एजुकेशन सिस्टम. Issues of diversity, equity, and equality form the essence of our education system. These are the points we are talking about, the socio-cultural perspective with respect to Indian education. Further, the socio-political and economic issues have also been included in various disciplines and school subjects. अब देखो बहुत सारे ऐसे हमारे school subjects हैं in which some economic issues, socio-political issues they have been raised. बच्चों की बुक्स में जेंडर इक्वालिटी की बात आने लग गई, सब इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज की बात आने लग गई. The political ideologies of various political parties influence the education system of country and also contribute to formation of academic discipline. हाँ, जो whatever political sometimes the किसी भी कंट्री का जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, डिसिप्लिन्स है, they are based on the political ideologies of the political parties which are in power at that time. According to the political ideologies, कई बार क्या होता है, some subjects are removed from the disciplines and some disciplines are added to the school system, education system. तो these are based, political influence भी होता है हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम के ऊपर इन द हमारे एकेडमिक डिसिप्लिन्स में. थर्ड पर्सपेक्टिव इज द हिस्टोरिकल पर्सपेक्टिव. हिस्टोरिकल फर्स्ट हमने बात करी philosophical perspective that every discipline has its own philosophy. Second is the socio-cultural perspective that every discipline is influenced by the social and cultural aspects of that place. Third is the historical perspective. Historical perspective means every discipline, every academic discipline, they have their own history. Every discipline can be analyzed by looking at its historical development. Journey of the specific academic discipline starting from its inception to the present form and practices of the discipline is called the history and development of the discipline. अब कोई भी discipline, जैसे मैं इंग्लिश की बात करती हूँ, तो जिस फॉर्म में इंग्लिश आज है, जो प्रेजेंट फॉर्म में जो इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज है, वो पहले से ऐसी नहीं थी. अगर आप इसकी हिस्ट्री देखो तो इट इज डिवाइडेड इनटू थ्री पार्ट्स: ओल्ड इंग्लिश, देन मिडिएवल इंग्लिश एंड देन मॉडर्न इंग्लिश. सो इट हैज अ लॉन्ग जर्नी. तो वो that which has helped in the development of this discipline. Similarly, science है, mathematics है, all these disciplines, this they have a history for its development. The changing need of the society, development of science and technology, emergence of new ways and techniques are certain conditions for the emergence of new disciplines. अब जैसे जैसे हमारी society change हो रही है, its needs are changes. Developments of science and technology आ गया. Science and technology has made lot of development. तो उससे हमारे needs they have changed and it has resulted into the emergence of new disciplines. For example, अगर आप देखो computer science, काफी साल पहले it was not a discipline, but अब अगर आज की बात करो तो computer science में आप graduation भी करते हो, computer science engineering भी है. So it has emerged as a new discipline. Similarly, there are some other disciplines like biotechnology की अगर हम बात करें, तो all these are now emerged because of the changing needs of the society and development of science and technology. Similarly, the evolution of any discipline has certain historical perspective. The historical perspective of any discipline is also based on context prevailing at that time when it evolves. कहने का मतलब कि every discipline has its own history. It is evolved और it keeps on changing also. Development जैसे जैसे होती जाती है, जो disciplines में अपनी अपनी इसकी development में हर एक डिसिप्लिन की अपनी डेवलपमेंट्स होती है. अगर मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल दूं, हिस्ट्री इटसेल्फ इज अ डिसिप्लिन एंड इट सेल्फ हैज इट्स ओन हिस्ट्री. कभी इट इज पहले एक हिस्ट्री एक कॉमन चीज नहीं रह गई. इसमें आप पढ़ते हो ना हिस्ट्री में भी एंशिएंट हिस्ट्री एंड मिडाइवल हिस्ट्री, तो ऑल दिस थिंग्स, तो ऑल लीड्स टू द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द discipline. So every discipline has its own history of development. Next our topic is the interrelationship between the disciplines. So पहले about the interrelationship between the disciplines. अगर मैं बात करूँ तो no discipline can exist in independence. कोई भी discipline अपने आप में complete नहीं है. All these disciplines they are interrelated to each other. For example, अगर हम mathematics की बात करें तो mathematics is again it is related with other fields like language and like sciences and so on. मैथमेटिकल प्रिंसिपल। सिमिलरली आप एक अगर बहुत सिंपल मैं आपको म्यूजिक की एग्जांपल दूं तो म्यूजिक इज आल्सो रिलेटेड विद द साइंस, इट इज रिलेटेड विद द मैथमेटिक्स। जो आप इसमें बात करते हो, जो नोट्स की बात करते हैं हम म्यूजिक में, या सिमेट्री की बात करते हैं, ऑल दीज आर द कंसेप्ट्स ऑफ साइंस एज वेल एज and mathematics. So all these disciplines, they are interrelated. So first of all, we will talk about the interrelationship between the disciplines of social sciences. What is social sciences? Social sciences में consists of के अपने बहुत सारे एरियाज आ जाते हैं सोशल साइंसेज के, जैसे हिस्ट्री है, पॉलिटिकल साइंस है, इकोनॉमिक्स है, ज्योग्राफी है। सो फर्स्ट इज दैट जो सोशल साइंसेज के अपने fields that they are interrelated to each other, and also not only with all these branches of social sciences are interrelated to each other, and not only this, the social sciences are also interrelated with other subjects like languages, mathematics and sciences. तो एक एग्जांपल आपको देना चाहूंगी कि बस जस्ट आई वुड लाइक टू कंक्लूड दैट इन द कोई भी डिसिप्लिन, इट इज रिलेटेड विद इट्स ओन ब्रांचेस as well as it is related with other branches. Uske according, we say that this type of correlation is known as the vertical and horizontal correlation. Vertical correlation is when the field, when a discipline is correlated with its own branches. For example, जैसे social sciences है, history is correlated with economics, with political science, with geography. This is known as the vertical correlation. जैसे हम कहते हैं साइंसेस की भी अगर मैं बात करूं तो फिजिक्स एंड केमिस्ट्री दे आर कोरिलेटेड, केमिस्ट्री एंड बायोलॉजी आर कोरिलेटेड. So this type of correlation is known as the vertical correlation. And when it is related with other disciplines, it is known as the horizontal correlation. Just as social sciences is correlated with languages, with sciences and mathematics. This type of correlation is known as the horizontal correlation. We are just talking about the interrelationship between the disciplines of social sciences and sciences. Like social science comprises the disciplines of history, political science, economics, geography, sociology, etc. And within the discipline, these different branches of social sciences are related with each other. जैसे हम बात करें इकोनॉमिक्स है, तो इकोनॉमिक्स is related with the history, with the political science, and so on. Whereas the social science is also related with other disciplines such as mathematics, language, and science. For example, when we teach history of a particular time, we need to teach the socio-economic conditions of the people during that time, their socio-geographical diversities, system of governance within the community, language that they spoke, etc. So this is an example that how history is related with other branches of geography and other branches of this thing, governance and other language, etc. Economics teacher needs to understand calculation, use of various figures, graphs, use of statistics for data analysis and interpretation. So economics cannot exist in isolation. इकोनॉमिक्स टीचर है तो वो कैलकुलेशंस भी करेगा. अगर आप में से कोई इकोनॉमिक्स का स्टूडेंट्स है तो आप देखो आप कितने स्टैटिस्टिकल डाटा के साथ डील करते हैं इकोनॉमिक्स वाले स्टूडेंट्स. डाटा एनालिसिस करते हैं, डाटा इंटरप्रिटेशन करते हैं, विच इज द फील्ड ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स. सो इकोनॉमिक्स कैनॉट एग्जिस्ट इन आइसोलेशन, it is related with the statistics. Similarly, geography teacher, he deals with the content like population parameters, weather reports, climate change, rainfall, demographic dividends, measurements of distance, etc. So all these concepts, they need the understanding of mathematics, science as well as statistics. So again, the knowledge of language is also very important to understand various themes of सोशल साइंस. सोशल साइंस का आपके पास एक कंसेप्ट है, लेकिन जब आपने उसको लोगों तक पहुंचाना है तो यू नीड लैंग्वेज, यू नीड सम पर्टिकुलर टर्म्स, particular technical terms related to the field of social sciences, and you need language to convey your message to the people. So it's clear. So how this social science is related with its own branches as well as with other disciplines. Second, we talk about the interrelationships of language with other disciplines, how language is interrelated with other disciplines. So the need of learning language is not only limited to that language, but also extends to teaching of other disciplines or subjects. सिर्फ एक लैंग्वेज, जब मैं इंग्लिश या हिंदी या पंजाबी पढ़ती हूँ तो मैं सिर्फ वो लैंग्वेज नहीं पढ़ रही हूँ, बल्कि हाउ टू it also extend to teaching of other disciplines or subjects. बाकी सब्जेक्ट्स भी अगर टीचर ने पढ़ाने, कोई भी आप लैंग्वेज के बिना टीच नहीं कर सकते. So teacher from any discipline needs to know the specific terminologies and language used in other disciplines. तो यह जैसे हमने एक बात करते हैं, मैं फिजिक्स की बात करती हूँ, एक फॉर्मूला हम देते हैं डेंसिटी इज इक्वल टू मास पर यूनिट वॉल्यूम, मास अपॉन वी. तो उसमें इक्वेशन आ जाती है हमारे पास कि इफ v इज गिवन, डेंसिटी इज गिवन, हाउ टू कैलकुलेट मास. दैट इज द लैंग्वेज ऑफ मैथमेटिक्स. तो बहुत सारे हमें सिंबल्स, इक्वेशन है, दैट सिंबल्स, इसका क्या मीनिंग है, वी शुड नो. तो टीचर फ्रॉम एनी डिसिप्लिन नीड्स टू know some knowledge about the language used in other disciplines also. So this is what you study in your subject language across the curriculum. Language is concerned with all the other disciplines. Next is the interrelationship between physics and mathematics. Now physics and mathematics are just, हम ये कहते हैं कि बड़े real brother sister की तरह हैं physics and mathematics, because without mathematics no physics related problem in physics can be solved. फिजिक्स चल ही नहीं सकती विदाउट मैथमेटिक्स. कोई भी फॉर्मूला है, कोई भी इक्वेशंस है, वी नीड मैथमेटिकल कैलकुलेशंस इन दोज फॉर्मूलाज to measure objects distance and to show relationship between different functions, properties in physics. Knowledge of arithmetic algebra and advanced mathematics can be used. How mass, how density is related with volume, we need mathematical knowledge. The principles, formulas of mathematics like calculus, differential equations, methods of approximation, probability, all these are used in physics. अगर आप में से कोई साइंस का कराओ स्टूडेंट है तो आप, मुझे लगता है +1 में पहला ही टॉपिक करते हैं डिफरेंशिएशन एंड इंटीग्रेशन. So these differential equations, all these need the knowledge about the mathematics. Next is the interrelationship between biology and chemistry. Again, biology and chemistry are very much correlated. The knowledge base of biochemistry has been generated from the discipline of biology and chemistry. नया discipline आ गया हमारे पास biochemistry, which is the combines both biology as well as chemistry. So biochemists understand and solve the biological problems using chemical knowledge and techniques. Biology हमारी without chemical reactions के ये भी अधूरी है. बायोलॉजिकल नॉलेज, वी नीड सम नॉलेज अबाउट द केमिस्ट्री. अगर हम आपको करिकुलम, आपके सिलेबस की बात करें, बायोलॉजिकल के स्टूडेंट्स, आप रेस्पिरेशंस की इक्वेशंस करते हैं जब आप डाइजेशन का चैप्टर पढ़ते हो +2 में, +1 में बायोलॉजी में. तो वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम, लेकिन कैसे स्टमक में जाकर के क्या रिएक्शन होता है या इंटेस्टाइन्स में जाके कौन कौन सा रिएक्शन होता है, ऑल दिस नीड knowledge about the chemical equations. अब respiration पढ़ते हो, Kelvin cycle and all these things, all these are nothing but the chemical equations. तो जितने भी मतलब biological fields है, they are related with the knowledge about the chemistry. So biology and chemistry, they are interrelated to each other. So the objectives of teaching can only be realized when we teach subjects from inter and मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी पर्सपेक्टिव. अब आइसोलेशन में कोई भी सब्जेक्ट हम नहीं पढ़ा सकते. So we have to teach the subjects interdisciplinary and with multidisciplinary approach. So this was all about the disciplines, their interrelationship between the different subjects and different academic disciplines, how these are correlated to each other. Any doubt till now? Any doubt? So we shift to the second presentation. Or second chapter. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So अब हम शिफ्ट करते हैं with the disciplinary knowledge and स्कूल एजुकेशन। कोई डाउट उसमें जो पहला हमने पढ़ा अब तक का? एनी क्वेश्चन?
नो मैम।
ओके, समझ में आ रहा है?
यस मैम।
चलिए तो आगे आगे चले अब। So
यस
now we
मैम।
come
यस
to,
मैम।
okay ji, now we come to the disciplinary knowledge and school education. So the main concern अगर हम कहें तो main concern of teacher education जो आप कर रहे हो, teacher education is to prepare quality teachers for the school education. Quality teachers हमारा main जो teacher education का main जो purpose है to prepare the quality teachers for the school education, and there are many factors which are affecting the quality preparation of these quality teachers. उनमें से सबसे important major हमारे factor आ जाते हैं understanding disciplinary knowledge and pedagogical practices to transact that disciplinary knowledge at different stages of school education. दो चीजें मेजर, दो फैक्टर हैं। एक तो ये है कि क्वालिटी टीचर्स के लिए दे शुड हैव अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द डिसिप्लिनरी नॉलेज, आपको अपना कंटेंट आना चाहिए। एंड सेकंड इज द वी शुड हैव नॉलेज अबाउट द पेडागोजिकल प्रैक्टिसेस फॉर द ट्रांजैक्शन ऑफ दैट नॉलेज। तो दो मेजर फैक्टर आ जाते हैं, एक तो नॉलेज, अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ योर डिसिप्लिनरी नॉलेज एंड your about the different pedagogical practices to transmission या transaction of that knowledge. So disciplinary knowledge need to be integrated systematically in curriculum at different stages of school education. जो disciplines at different stages of school education, but we have to integrate this disciplinary knowledge in a systematic way. Similarly, the connection between various strands of a discipline can be explained with good pedagogical tools. है ना कि हर एक different stages में हम disciplinary knowledge is integrated in a systematic way, and similarly, this knowledge, this discipline knowledge can be explained only with the help of good pedagogical tools. अगर आपको pedagogy अच्छे से आती है तब। According to NCFTE 2009, NCFTE means National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education. According to this, the key departure of pedagogical courses from conventional teacher education would involve shifting the focus from pure disciplinary knowledge and methodology to the learner and his or her context as well. According to NCFTE ने क्या रिमार्क करा था कि अब हमें पेडागोजिकल जो मेन हमारा कंसर्न ये है कि वी हैव टू शिफ्ट द पेडागोजिकल कोर्सेज फ्रॉम कन्वेंशनल टीचर एजुकेशन टू मोर फोकस ऑन द लर्नर सेंटर्ड एजुकेशन। अब हमें कन्वेंशनल मेथड से आपको ट्रेनिंग नहीं देनी है, हमें शिफ्ट करना है टू द लर्नर सेंटर्ड। लर्नर सेंटर्ड मीन्स द टीचिंग इज अकॉर्डिंग टू द एक्सपीरियंसेस ऑफ द लर्नर। जैसे हम पहले लैंग्वेज की बात करूं मैं आगे, तो पहले तो हमें होता था ना कि मदर टंग है, एक मीडियम में हम बात करते हैं कि इंग्लिश मीडियम है तो अपने इंग्लिश बोलते हैं, हिंदी है तो हिंदी। अब हम कहते हैं कि अब हमारा जो कंसर्न शिफ्ट हो गया टू द मल्टीलिंगुअल जो ट्रांजैक्शन में हो गया। सिमिलरली अगर हम लैंग्वेज की बात करें तो कन्वेंशनली तो ग्रामेटिकली ठीक लैंग्वेज या इंग्लिश की बजाय अब हमारा कंसर्न इज मोर ऑन इट्स यूसेज। तो शिफ्ट हो गया हमारा फोकस पूरा फ्रॉम द कन्वेंशनल टीचिंग टू द modern learner centered teaching. So the curriculum transaction is guided by various schools of thought on teaching. There are many schools of thought जैसे behaviorism है, cognitivism है, constructivism है। All the pedagogical approaches may not be suitable for transacting every content area in a discipline. जो करिकुलम ट्रांजैक्शन है आपने पढ़ा होगा अपने साइको में भी, देयर आर वेरियस स्कूल्स ऑफ साइकोलॉजी, बिहेवियरिज्म है, कॉग्निटिविस्ट है और कंस्ट्रक्टिविज्म स्कूल है। दे हैव इनकी अपना एक थॉट है, अकॉर्डिंगली दे हैव गिवन डिफरेंट पेडागोजिकल अप्रोचेस। बिहेवियरिज्म ये हम आगे बात करेंगे कि बिहेवियरिज्म कौन से मेथड ऑफ टीचिंग की बात करता है, कॉग्निटिविज्म कौन से मेथड्स की बात करता है, कंस्ट्रक्टिविज्म कौन से मेथड्स ऑफ टीचिंग की बात करता है। तो ऑल these these schools of thoughts have given different pedagogical approaches, लेकिन all these approaches may not be suitable for transacting every content area in a discipline. different content area के लिए we have to go for a different pedagogical approach. So these are certain schools of pedagogical approaches given by different schools of thought. Pioneers concept उनका क्या है and implications कौन कौन से. For example, behaviorism. Behaviorist जो behaviorism approach was given by Pavlov, Watson, Thorndike and Skinner. ये लोग हैं इनके मेन पायोनियर्स. आपको याद होगा आपने साइकोलॉजी में पढ़ा होगा कहीं ना लर्निंग में आप जरूर पढ़ते होंगे पैवलोव की थ्योरी ऑफ लर्निंग. थॉर्नडाइक जो थॉर्नडाइक वाला एक्सपेरिमेंट आप इफ यू रिमेम्बर जो उसने he put a cat in a cage और hit and trial method से उसने उस केज को ओपन किया था. पैवलोव का डॉग के साथ एक्सपेरिमेंट है कि when he is given some food he starts salivating. कंडीशनिंग की बात उसने करी थी. सिमिलरली स्किनर का जो पिजन्स का एक्सपेरिमेंट अगर आप याद करो तो अगर वो ठीक ठीक बात पर जाते थे तो दे वर गिवन रीइंफोर्समेंट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ग्रेन या फूड. तो अगर मैं कहूँ तो इनका मेन कंसेप्ट इज बेस्ड ऑन द स्टिमुलस एंड रिस्पॉन्स लर्निंग थ्योरीज इन्होंने दी है बाय बिहेवियरिस्ट में एंड दे टॉक अबाउट द रीइंफोर्समेंट एंड कंडीशनिंग. So main concept of behaviorist is that behaviorism is a school of thought in psychology which is based on the proposition that behavior can be researched scientifically without studying inner mental states. If we can study the behavior, उन्होंने study करा and the changes or modification of behavior occur when the bonds of stimulus and response are established in the process of learning. इन्होंने SR theories को कहते हैं stimulus and response. Some stimulus is there and they give response and in this way link is established and we learn modification of behavior it occurs. According to this thought, the major जो pedagogical methods जो implications इसकी teaching learning process में इस थॉट की साइकोलॉजी के थॉट ऑफ साइकोलॉजी का बिहेवियरिस्ट उनका क्या implications है and emphasis on producing observable and measurable outcomes in students, pre-assessment of students to determine where instruction should begin, emphasis on mastering early steps before progressing to more complex levels of performance, use of reinforcement and use of cues, shaping and practices to ensure a strong stimulus response association. तो इसको अगर मैं कंक्लूड करूँ एक सिंपल शब्दों में कि बिहेवियरिस्ट स्कूल बेस्ड ऑन द एसआर थ्योरीज लिंक ऑफ द स्टिमुलस एंड रिस्पांस एसोसिएशन. तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग इनके हिसाब से जो टीचिंग मेथड हमारा टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस में इनका क्या बिलीव है कि we believe that behaviors can be observed and we should begin with the pre-assessment of whatever students know, pre-K testing, previous knowledge, whatever they previously know, and then emphasis on mastering of the early steps and then giving reinforcement and giving cues and shaping the behavior to develop a strong stimulus and response relation. Second school of thought in psychology is cognitivism and early constructivism. इसके जो मेन पायोनियर्स ऑफ दिस स्कूल ऑफ थॉट आर एडलर, गॉर्डन, बंदूरा, एरिक्सन एटसेट्रा, सिगमंड फ्रॉइड एंड कर्ट ल्यूइस, ये पियाजे एटसेट्रा. So cognitive theories focus on how information is received. इनका जो मेन जो cognitive theories है, these are जो इनका मेन फोकस है कि how we receive the information and how it is processed in the mind. So cognitive theories focus on how information is received, organized, stored and retained by the mind. It assumes that human brain is hardwired to perform complex cognitive tasks that make human learning possible. An understanding of how cognitive tasks are accomplished by brain and how mind mediates in performing those tasks, it helps the pedagogists develop unique teaching learning tools for children. So construct जो economists है, they believe that जो information कैसे it is processed by the mind, and if we understand that how these cognitive tasks are accomplished by brain, so we can uh, develop new methods of teaching and learning. So implications, what are the implications of this school of thought? That emphasis is on active involvement of the learner in the learning process. बिहेवियरिस्ट स्कूल में क्या डिफरेंस था कि उसमें वो कहते थे वी हैव टू शेप देयर बिहेवियर, और उनको जो हम सिखाएंगे उनको रीइंफोर्स करके हम कर सकते हैं। लेकिन इसमें क्या है कि देयर इज, उसमें बिहेवियरिस्ट में जो लर्नर वाज द पैसिव लिसनर, लेकिन इसमें एम्फेसिस इज ऑन द एक्टिव इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ द लर्नर इन द लर्निंग प्रोसेस। Use of hierarchical analysis to identify and illustrate prerequisite relationships, emphasis on structuring, organizing, and sequencing information to facilitate optimal processing. हाँ, इसमें जो main emphasis है कि it is organized in a systematic way knowledge, ताकि it is processed in a optimal way, कि अगर ठीक से if the information is well structured and organized and sequenced, then it will facilitate the processing. Creation of learning environments that allow and encourage students to make connections with previously learned materials. ये भी बात करी कि there is association between the previous but their previously learned material. So according to this thought, हमारा teaching method क्या होगा? So we will create such environments which encourage the students to make connection between whatever they previously learned and the new method of learning, and they believe in the discovery learning. Third, जो school of thought is the social constructivist. Social constructivist main इसका जो it was given by Vygotsky. You will learn about Vygotsky's view in your psychology paper. So main pioneers are Vygotsky, John Dewey, Yo Piaget, and Brunner. Social constructivist का main concern is that students they construct their own knowledge. So they believe that students they are not the passive listeners. They can develop their own knowledge. They can construct their own knowledge, and क्योंकि हर एक बच्चे के अपने अपने experiences हैं, अपने on the basis of their experiences they can construct the knowledge. So social constructivism assumes that a child is an active constructor of his or her own knowledge. Teachers help the students to construct their knowledge by using their experience. The child cannot be coaxed to learn but to be motivated by meaningful participation in the classroom discourse. The classroom pedagogy needs to encourage students to ask questions, investigate, and inquire individually and collectively the questions and reflect on their own solutions. So इसके according students टीचर का रोल ये नहीं है कि आया और पढ़ाया, but they have to construct their own knowledge on the basis of their experiences. They can ask the questions from the teacher, investigate or inquiry about their questions, and on the basis they develop their own solutions and their own knowledge. The teacher's role will be that of a collaborator or mutual constructor of meaning and not a direct dictator of meaning. तो जैसा बिहेवियरिस्ट में जो टीचर वाज द एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेंट, ही वाज द डिक्टेटर, लेकिन इसमें जो है टीचर का रोल इज ओनली टू फैसिलिटेट द नॉलेज गेन बाय द स्टूडेंट, और उसने कुछ डिक्टेट नहीं करना. सो द टेक्स्ट बुक प्लेज द रोल ऑफ अ meditational tool for knowledge constructor. They are just the mediator. So textbooks हैं, they are the mediator for the knowledge constructor. So implication of this school is that developing a classroom discourse around the concept using children's own experiences and knowledge at the beginning, creating multiple contact points for the children in the classroom discourse, taking help of textbook, children's own experience and innovative pedagogy to create these contact points. So इसमें main emphasis है कि using the children's own experiences, and emphasis is on learners agency in the construction of his own ideas and knowledge, and the need for information to be presented in a variety of ways so that children find multiple scaffolds to their learning. हर एक बच्चे का अपना एक experience है, तो they can the information be presented in a variety of ways. Supporting the use of problem solving skills that allow learning to grow beyond the information given and develop critical learning tools. And similarly इसमें अगर assessment कैसे करनी है, तो assessment is focuses on multiple ways through which knowledge can be constructed and contested. So it uses a number of critical pedagogy for the development of reflexive engagement with oneself and knowledge. So this is the social constructivism in which the teacher is just the mediator and facilitator of the knowledge constructed by the students. तो अगर हम इसको कंक्लूड करें तो कंस्ट्रक्टिविज्म या कोग्निटिविज्म दे आर द बेस्ट दे गिव द बेस्ट मेथड्स ऑफ टीचिंग जिनमें के जो स्टूडेंट्स है जो लर्नर है दे आर द एक्टिव पार्टिसिपेंट्स behaviorist in the behaviorist school of thought the students are just the passive listeners तो अगर हम आज की डेट में अगर हम बात करें तो मेन जो हमारा pedagogy should be based on the this constructivist or on the basis of the cognitive school of thoughts. So now in this table we will talk about the disciplinary knowledge and pedagogical approaches in school subjects. Okay? What type of in different school subjects, what type of disciplinary knowledge is involved and what are the pedagogical approaches concerned with that subject. First school subject is social science. So these are a few disciplinary concepts which are taught in these school subjects like citizenship education, reflective socio-political inquiry, social criticism, ethical decision, social dynamism, believing constitutional values, personal engagement, culture. All these are the concepts which are taken as the disciplinary knowledge in the school subject of social sciences. And pedagogical approaches involved to teach this subject are like reflection on one's own experience, observation of social and political situations, and critical or political inquiry, case analysis, field visits can be taken, classroom debates or discussions can be held, peer and group interactions can be organized, individual and group projects can be given, and use of portfolios and maintaining rubrics for assessment. In the case of science, the disciplinary areas they are concerned with the scientific literacy, socio-scientific issues, and understanding the world around the learner, science in everyday situations, atom, molecules, matter, work and energy, life processing, heredity, all these things are they come under the concepts which are taught in the subject of science and methods. Pedagogical approaches are scientific inquiry to day-to-day, everyday experience, observations, repeating classic experiments, engagement in scientific discourse, contestation, investigation, peer and group work can be given, and science quizzes and workshops can be held. Visits to various science labs can be undertaken. In case of language, the main disciplinary concerns or concepts to be taught in the languages are socio-cultural issues can be taught, construction of language, knowledge during the early years of life, age-wise language development, multilinguality and language learning, usage of language, language development. All these are the concepts in the language discipline. And the method approaches, pedagogical approaches are use of narratives and storytelling, communicative approach can be used, peer and group discussions are held, students are engaged in developing language acquisition skills, science sensitizing the learners to appreciate language creations and create their own literature. They can be asked to write their own story or write their own news, and using free response formats that allow open-ended and creative answers, and individual and group feedback and assessments can be held. Now we will talk about the pedagogical concerns of disciplinary knowledge at different stages of school education. That we talk about different subjects, now different stages like elementary, secondary, and higher education. So, for example, at the elementary stage, the subject areas are language, social sciences, and mathematics, and these are the specific pedagogical approaches. For example, language we can use narrative, writing, discourse, reviewing the content of books, listening, and producing oral discourse can be held. Use of concept mapping. Social sciences may further debate and discussions can be held. Map reading practice of process skills can be done like observation, classification, and so on. Science may we can conduct experiments and probing, documenting, and analyzing children's ideas. And mathematics we can use inductive, deductive problem solving approaches, preparing mathematical models, use concept map, etc. At the secondary stage, these are the subjects which are taught at the secondary stage, like languages, social sciences, science, and mathematics. So, various pedagogical approaches at secondary stage to teach languages are addressing multilingualism, gap between home and school languages. It has to be reduced. Classroom discourses can be held, analyzing texts, note making, summarizing the things, all these things. Similarly, social sciences for secondary level, we can go for the inquiry based and problem based learning method of teaching. Group discussions can be held, mock parliament, visit can be taken, and we can also organize awareness and some important activities. For science, we can use science process skills like observation, classification, hypothesizing, and testing, understanding science and society, and so on, and similarly mathematics. So classifying, accommodating specific areas of knowledge. थोड़ी सी इसकी मैं बात करूंगी कि जो ट्रेडिशनल अप्रोच टू ऑर्गेनाइज स्कूल करिकुलम इज मोस्टली बेस्ड अपॉन द सब्जेक्ट कंटेंट विच आर ड्रॉन फ्रॉम द कोर डिसिप्लिन्स. जितने भी आप सब्जेक्ट्स देखिए, दे आर में जितने भी स्कूल सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं, दे आर ऑल ड्रॉन फ्रॉम द कोर डिसिप्लिन्स लाइक साइंसेज, लैंग्वेजेस, सोशल साइंसेज, मैथमेटिक्स. तो उसमें क्या है कि बहुत सारे ऐसे एरियाज हैं नॉलेज, मैनी एरियाज ऑफ नॉलेज, जैसे आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट एजुकेशन है, वर्क एजुकेशन, पीस एजुकेशन, लाइफ स्किल एजुकेशन, sports and physical education value, all these are ignored. These are not incorporated in the school education as separate subjects because they are not treated as the disciplines. इनको कराते हैं इनको schools में टाइम टेबल में. schools they keep these subjects in the school timetable, but just as a co-curricular or extracurricular activity. उनको वो जो position जो बाकी disciplines को है, language, social sciences या mathematics को है, इन subjects को वो position नहीं मिली है. These are widely ignored. तो these specific areas of knowledge include, first is the art and craft. art and craft है, कभी आपने देखा कि art and craft के compulsory subject की तरह पढ़ाया जाए, जैसे language या physics, जैसे language या science पढ़ाई जाती है. Art and craft is a very important subject because the sense of creativity, appreciation skills, aesthetic skills, and value-based learning, they are possible only through art and craft education. Also, जो art and craft का career और jobs में भी इसका at higher stages it has increasing scope, but again it is yet not integrated in the school curriculum. आप देखो आर्ट एंड क्राफ्ट पांचवी फिफ्थ या सिक्स या सेवंथ एट क्लास तक इट इज टॉट टू द स्टूडेंट्स. उसके बाद ये करते करते निकल जाता है. Second ignored subject is the work education. Work is very important for the students. बच्चे चाहे घर पे काम करे या बाहर काम करे, it's very important. So inclusion of socially useful productive work, SUPW in school curriculum is there. It makes the children appreciate the worth of social life. It makes them disciplined, self-controlled, focused, mentally energized, and emotionally balanced. But again, this work education is not included as a discipline. Similarly, other ignored knowledge is peace education. Peace education is the need of the hour. Unprecedented growth of violence, intolerance, fanaticism, conflict, and discordance are constant threats to our society. So there is the need to train the children and young adults to practice tolerance and peace at home, school, and society. Peace education, बहुत very few contents or very little contents are included which address the issues of peace education, and that is also limited to few topics and subjects. It is not taught as a separate subject. Another ignored field is the life skills education. बहुत important area है life skills का. So nurturing life skills include developing and improve self-esteem, building empathy towards others, different cultures, etc. Improving non-critical and creative thinking, making them better at problem solving with a balanced approach towards decision making. So all these are the life skills. Decision making, interpersonal relationships, self-esteem, building empathy, stress management, critical thinking, creative thinking. All these are the life skills but these are not taught to the children as a discipline. Health and physical education, it has significant contribution to the physical, social and emotional development of a child. कभी हम health and physical education का ये रोल नहीं भूल सकते कि it helps the physical, social and emotional development of the child. And yoga, health and physical education need to be a part of core curriculum. Again, value education, it is not taught as a core education. So there is a need of integration of constitutional and other values across the subjects in the curriculum at all levels of school education. जो हमारी जो भी constitutional values है like equality, justice, freedom, all these are required to be taught to the children as the core curriculum. So this was all about the disciplinary knowledge across the school subjects. Any question till now? कोई क्वेश्चन आपके माइंड में? होप आपको सारे कंसेप्ट्स क्लियर हो गए होंगे. So shall we stop now? And जी students. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so shall we stop now? Any question? कोई भी डाउट हो आप इसके क्लास के बाद भी आप मेरे से पर्सनल नंबर पर आप अपना जो है मेरे से पूछ सकते हैं. ठीक है जी? ओके, थैंक यू. ओके, थैंक यू.